Every civilization was built off the back of a disposable workforce. But I can only make so many. Happy birthday.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the Grapevine Movie Reviews, where we only score the movies that we haven't seen. If you haven't been with us before, the group of us here, we go see a movie, except for one of us who's the odd person out. Then we all get together, discuss the movie, and the one who didn't see it scores the movie based on how much they want to see it, based on what he's heard from everybody else through the grapevine. I'm Matt, and on the vine today with me is
Yash,
Andy,
Mariana,
Michael.
And today we're going to be discussing a movie called Blade Runner 2049. Now, it's been a couple weeks since this movie came out. We all got a little bit busy. We didn't have a chance to go record this, but it's been a while. I hope everyone has it fresh in their minds, at least enough so they know what to talk about. Who wants to take a stab at basic plot synopsis for this movie, just to give me the idea of it? Because I'm the person that didn't get to see it, me, Matt. Everybody else would have got to check it out. So yeah, who wants to do the plot synopsis this time?
I'll give it a shot.
All right, do it, Michael.
I'm gonna give a little bit of spoilers in this, and I think we're gonna touch on them just because I think the trailer didn't give any plot, and I think to understand this movie you need a little bit.
Well, yeah, definitely.
So the basic concept is we have a new Blade Runner, Ryan Gosling. His name's Kay, and he is investigating a dead replicant that there's proof that she was pregnant. And the whole thing is this has huge just shockwaves, or at least potential to do shockwaves through this entire world. So you have on one side his bosses basically saying destroy anything and everyone related to this. And then on the other side, you obviously have some people that are trying to figure out and use this for their benefit. That's the core idea. Along the way, he has a bit of a relationship with his AI system. And he also runs into Harrison Ford eventually, which I'm sure we'll get to. Yes. But that's your general synopsis, is this is an investigation of how is this possible? What are the implications of this? Should he take a side on this or just be a good Blade Runner and do his job and shut it down? Okay,
that actually is super helpful for me having not seen the movie. One of my big contentions, before ever having gotten a chance to go see it, is that the trailers didn't make me want to see it.
They do not give you a lot.
I don't know what's going on in the movie. It looks nice, but I don't really know what there is going on in it. So I guess that's one of the things I would want to ask is for somebody who has seen the original Blade Runner, and I didn't really love it, and then I see the trailers for this one, and I'm like, I don't really know what it's about, so I'm not really drawn to go see it. What is there to pull me into the movie? Is it pull you in right at the beginning, or does it take a while to get going?
Well, I would say, as someone that I'm probably the oldest person in this room, so I was alive when the original first came out. I was one, unfortunately, but I did see the director's final vision, the 2007 one, not the director's cut, but the final cut. And I did watch it literally a week before I saw this one, because I wanted it to be really fresh in my mind. And just like me, or just like you, Matt, I didn't really enjoy the first one. Yeah. But I think that's the stick of Blade Runner. Okay. The Blade Runner is one of those ones that's like a thief in the night. It comes in, you might not enjoy what the thief does to you, but at the same time, it's going to leave a lasting impression on you later on in the future. Right? This movie is the same thing. I know there's people that are going to love it and there's people that are going to hate it. And to touch on your point of what draws you in is, in this one, it looks gorgeous. Okay. Just like the original. I can only imagine what it was like in 1982 to see that movie. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was probably blowing people's minds. Mm-hmm. And this one totally got me right in the first 20 minutes of the movie. I was in it to win it. And this movie is not a short movie. It's long.
Yeah.
So it really keeps you engaged. Would you agree?
I was up and down on the engagement factor, but I did like it a lot. As someone who was also not so hot on the original Blade Runner, I think my criticism, not even criticism, what I identified as the problem with me in the original Blade Runner is it was revolutionary, but then a lot of things since have taken similar ideas and done them either better or just done them a lot. So, you watch it now and you say, okay, this is an interesting concept about artificial humans, but I've seen it. Even though it did it before.
Right.
Like, to its credit, it did. But then, in retrospect, you're like, okay,
But that's where I think it was beautiful.
This one, like you said, I think what it does is it does for me now what I think that movie did for them back then, which is it is now introducing more new ideas that I haven't seen, building off of that first one. I think it does that very well, and I think the selling point for me, besides the production value of this thing, I think it's the ideas. If you're an ideas person when it comes to movies, I think there's a lot to chew on.
This, like, the old Blade Runner was such a big visual shock to audiences. I don't think even this new movie could live up to that, because there's so much, everything looks beautiful nowadays. Look at Ghost in the Shell, very similar world, giant holograms. It's I think the reason why you might like this movie is it has way more emotion than the old ones.
Okay.
There's so many great actors in this, and yeah, especially Dave Bautista. I want to talk a lot about that guy. He's great in this.
All right.
What are you
Well,
saying?
I wanted to touch on that, because, like you said, everything looks beautiful with CGI, and with production design, you can do anything. You can make everything look beautiful. But what this movie does is it doesn't make it look beautiful, where everything feels lived in. Like, the thing is, this is in the future, but all their technology are not new to them. Meaning, things look worn down. They look futuristic to us, but they've been using it for years. And everything looks old. Like, he has a flying car, and it looks like a 10-year-old car.
I didn't mean, like, beautiful in the sense, like, oh, it's beautiful. I just mean beautiful in the sense of, like, aw.
But the reason why I love this production design and why I love the world is because it feels like an actual lived-in world. Mm-hmm. It doesn't feel like... when you walk into a room, like, he's a Blade Runner, so he would work with the, I guess what they call the FBI at that time.
The LAPD.
LAPD. And their offices are, like, run down. And the thing is, usually when you would walk in an LAPD or an office of that kind in any other futuristic movies, it's like shiny walls, everything's holograms,
right.
Everything's touchscreen.
Well, it's in a dystopian future, correct?
Yeah, and the thing is,
like a post-apocalyptic future.
like,
everything's not beautiful.
Yeah, you see the sky, like the overhead shots of the city, and it's like all gray buildings, and there's like it's overpopulation, so obviously things get run down, and I think just for the world in general, it just feels like more realized.
Well, that's actually pretty cool, because that is an issue that I think about sometimes when I'm watching these movies about futuristic stuff, where everything looks too sleek and too fancy. Yeah. I guess what I'm wondering is, like, another movie. It kind of reminds me of Mad Max Fury Road in a way, where when it came out, it's a sequel to movies that already came out, but doesn't have so much to do with them really. When you really look at them spiritually, they're kind of about the same things, but they're very wildly different movies. And I'm getting that kind of sense here that this isn't so much a piggybacking off the other movie as much as it's saying, okay, this is the original building of this world, and we're going to tell a totally new story with new ideas.
Not really. So here it is. So this is my rendition of, or my interpretation of it. It is a built-up world that they're taking it. It's a standalone movie. Mm-hmm. You don't have to see the first one to see it.
Yeah, agreed.
Right? However, if you saw the first one, it brings you back to the first one because the director does an amazing job at hearkening things back, touching on small little idiosyncrasies that bring you back to the original, that pull on the heartstrings and the emotion of the people that saw the first one. And if you didn't see the first one, those will go right over your head, and that's completely fine.
Yeah.
But the people that saw the first one and saw those little things, I do want to touch on a few things, like not to spoil it per se, but like, for instance, you know, there's a sequence when Kay lies down near the end in the movie. Mm-hmm. That's the same music that's playing when Roy's character in the original dies.
Yeah.
If I've spoiled the original, I'm sorry. It's been out for so long.
I mean, why would you listen to a review of the sequel?
Right? Like, there's little things like that. Like, there's a section where they draw back on that the FBI character or the LAPD cop that does the origami, and he sees him in the old folks home, and he makes him an old origami of a sheep.
Yeah.
And this book is based on the movie Do Robots or
Androids
Do Androids Right, exactly. Plus, not only that, it also it's a double entendre. It's like you're just a sheep. You're following something to no end because you are just part of this story. And I thought, like, just those things, like after watching it and thinking back to the 2007 one that I watched the week before, it hit me. I felt I was hitting me.
It enhanced the original.
Yeah,
right.
Just to summarize that. Sorry. Go ahead. To summarize that, it's basically the new Blade Runner is basically the old Blade Runner if things just got shittier and shittier 30 years later.
Gotcha.
Okay. So the way that this movie enhanced the old one and also made itself better is in the original one of the least interesting things was the romance story. I didn't feel their chemistry.
I actually liked it.
I didn't feel their chemistry.
I think it's my favorite part.
And
That's my favorite part too.
And the thing is, I thought Harrison Ford's acting, I liked him enough, but like I thought it was kind of one note. And for some it works if you believe he's a replicant, but
I would say the same about Ryan Gosling's. His acting was the same.
But for this movie is that they harken back to, and I actually cared more about Harrison Ford's relationship with Sean Young in this movie, where she's not even there, than in the original movie.
Yeah.
Because I felt, I don't know if he got more passionate about this project, but I actually felt like he loved her. Like, because he misses her, because obviously she's not there anymore in this new movie, because it's in the future. But like, I felt that's the thing, is if you didn't watch this movie shows you how much he once cared for her and how much he still misses her.
Very
and
true.
like for a person who's never watched the original, you get that because it's like, oh, he cared for her, like blah blah. But in this movie, where I didn't really care for it in the original, but in this one I'm like, wow, like I cared more about the relationship now that it's done than when it was happening.
But fair enough. But the old movies were about something totally different. They were about the replicants trying to find more life. And in this one, the reason why I think you cared more is like you get a sense of those 30 years that
they
that
do
happened.
such a good job.
Yeah,
Right.
Let's touch on that because it is one of these movies that it has such well done exposition. It has all this history that's happened in the last 30 years, and they just you'll get just a taste of it here and there. They'll touch on it just in regular conversation. You'll just pick up on little things, and when you piece it together, it all makes the whole thing that much better. I think, but it never is like, okay, let's sit down for story time. And here's all the important things that happened over the last 30 years that brought us to this point. No, you're getting that, but it's all very passive, and like it's, if you're paying attention to dialogue, you'll get little bits of it. It's really cool like that.
And I did love the fact that it was kind of like an origin story with a twist, and it had its own skin in the game. It wasn't trying to be Harrison Ford's pickup.
Yeah. Like,
even though it was beautiful, that story on itself was beautiful. Pick up what Yash was saying about Bautista. He played a key role. I do want to say to fans and you yourself that I would suggest watching the shorts prior to watching the movie.
I love the shorts for the most
so
part.
it starts at Blackout 2022. And that was by Shinsharo Wananabe.
Yeah,
I want to
it's
believe
an
that's how you say it.
anime,
right? Anime director.
Okay.
And then the next one is Nexus Dawn, but 2036 by Luke Scott. And then there's 2048 Nowhere to Run. And that picks up the story of Bautista's character.
Oh wow!
And
Now I wanna see
you'll
that.
really
Right.
like it. Yeah.
and you'll really like that because it's a short that just basically picks up why he is doing what he's doing and why he's trying to advance.
The interesting thing why I didn't see those shorts is one of my friends, he told me like, oh, you have to see the shorts before you see the movie. It's like the only way you'll understand it. And I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, really? I'm not gonna.
Yeah,
now.
you don't want to be like, I don't need prerequisite
Yeah.
viewing. And
Trust me.
By all means, you don't need to see
You
them.
don't need to see them,
I
but
watched them after, and
it
I
did
think it just
pick up.
enhanced the
It
experience.
enhanced the experience very much so.
Okay.
I'll watch him now.
That sounds interesting. Yash, you did want to talk about
Dave Bautista.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I'd love to
Good
talk
segue.
about it because,
Good
yeah.
segue.
Yeah, he's
I guess we can talk about a bunch of different actors too, but you want to start with Bautista. I want to know about Gosling after, but
this guy. He could act, man. Like he plays a very broken down replicant who's kind of like
He's a Nexus Model 8.
Yeah, he's the 8.
Yeah.
He was created, there was a war fought, and it was basically...
To kill all the sixes.
No, he was a medic in the war.
Yeah, he was a medic in the war. And so, but like, it was basically replicants on both sides fighting for humans.
Mm-hmm.
And he was one of these guys that was involved in the war.
Yeah, we don't really know too much about the war, but yeah, he just plays.
And that's the Blackout 2022.
Okay.
That is what shows that.
Yeah.
okay.
And you don't need to know all that. It's like it's fine. But he plays like a really old, grizzled down, like raspy veteran, and
And he has a bigger story than that.
Okay.
He's part of later on a resistance that you'll figure
Yeah.
out why it's part of it.
Okay.
But that doesn't give anything away. But
We
he
don't-
he is working for a reason, and he has skin in the game, just like I said, and it's emotional. It's emotional. He is trying to bring the people to the next level. He's the Colin Kaepernick of the movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
That puts it in.
I mean, one of the fun things with him, I was reading an interview with him, or possibly a video. It's hard to distinguish these things in my mind, but it was just sort of about how everyone sort of expected him to go the rock path.
yeah.
But he's more interested in doing this sort of character actor thing where he just blends in, and he's so good.
And
at
I
it.
love it.
Well,
I'm so excited
Just-
for
well,
his
that's-
next
His eyes,
role.
man, showed so much pain.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me in the
love
way
him.
that he always did it stuff when he was actually in wrestling. And there's like an old story of he was supposed to be in this brutal match with a guy that his character was supposed to hate in wrestling.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know what would make this match really brutal? Me and him beat each other until we started bleeding. And it was after WWE had put in their edict of like, we don't want people to bleed anymore. And he's like, no, we're going to bleed anyway. And he did it himself anyway. And him and the guy that he was having the match with got fined. He paid both their fines because he said, character-wise, it made more sense for us to be so angry because we would beat each other.
He's an actor.
Like, he's always been like,
he-
even
he
back when he was
seems
in
to
wrestling.
get
I saw an interview with him and I think I don't think it was Jimmy Fallon, but it was one of those late night people, and the guy's just talking to him about like, oh, did you beat up Daniel Craig and James Bond, blah blah blah. How many words did you have in the? And he's like, it's like just talk to him like an actor.
Yeah,
Like, he
yeah.
wants to be, and you get.
I think he's going to be great.
I think he's
Like,
going to be
Well,
amazing.
considering he
he
keeps
needs to
his
be in
course.
everything now.
As someone who follows,
Yeah.
as someone who's followed his career even when he was in wrestling, the reason he left WWE is because he had huge creative
He
differences.
was more
with them.
interested in the
He-
character.
He was more
than
interested in his character on the show.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, I think it would make more sense if my character was villainous because of these things that happen.
And he's a
I said,
fan.
yeah,
He's
but
a
people
fan of
like
the
you.
old
People like you, so we need people to like you. He's like, but that doesn't make sense because my character wouldn't do these things.
Yeah.
And that's when his contract ran out. It's the reason why he left. It's because he was like, I'm more interested in delving into character of what I'm doing,
Yeah.
even back when it was just wrestling on TV. So yeah.
Now let's get back into
yeah,
the
what's
characters.
the next character?
Yeah.
Now, I want to touch on another person that really hit me. Now, I know that you didn't really like the love story.
Oh,
of it.
what? Why not?
No, in
The
the
original
old one.
one.
Oh, the original.
Oh,
Okay.
I thought you meant in this one.
In this one, what was
Right.
surprising is that like he has a AI system in his house.
So offended.
No, he has
that
an
was a beautiful.
Yeah,
It was
he has
good.
an AI system in
good.
his house, which is basically like her if
Yeah, I
she was
was gonna
physical.
say that. Yeah. Even the
and-
sex thing.
And the thing is, you know it from the beginning. She appears as a hologram, and he turns on a
Yeah.
machine, and she shows up. So you don't have any. It's not like, oh, is she real? Isn't she?
Her
No,
name
you
is
know
Joy.
from the
Her name
beginning.
is Joy.
And the thing is, the reason why this love story works so well is because he knows it too, and he's so lonely. Can I like spoil something small?
Yeah, sure.
Because there's never any they don't show it in the trailer, but in the movie there's never any indication whether is he a replicant, is he not. They tell him from the beginning. At the LAPD they use like this.
They tell him skin job.
Yeah, which is apparently like a crude term.
It's a racial slur.
It's a derogatory term for a replicant. So, like, from the get-go, they tell you he's a replicant. Mm-hmm. And so, the fact that everyone treats him as lesser, and also because he's a Blade Runner, which is apparently not a, like, well-looked-upon job, like, you can tell that he's lonely and he's looking for that connection. And the fact that, like, even though it's an AI system, it seems as though she loves him.
To get more of a... Sorry.
Like... It just, you can see their connection. Whether or not she's real, you see how much he cares for her. And, like, I thought this romance worked so well just because you could see why he would do this. And it played out really well. Like,
and the thing is, like, I'll let you go to your point next, Yash, but, like, the thing that was beautiful about it was the connection that the director, what's the director's name, Michael?
Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah, Denis Villeneuve. He put in these little nuggets that just, I don't know if anyone in the room knew about it, but if you knew, his girlfriend's name was Joy. So his android partner was Joy.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The person that was chasing him was Love.
Yeah. It's fascinating.
Joy was something that he longed for, but he couldn't buy. He could only buy as a product. And Love was brutal and cruel, and she actually was the thing that ended up destroying his joy. Literally and figuratively. Mm. Right? So there was just these small little nuances and I almost felt like I needed to see it again because of how beautiful it was done.
Yeah.
And it kind of encapsulated and trapped you into this sense of, I really want him to win. Like, I want him to have what he's
you just want him to be happy.
We know he's a skin job. We know that. We know he's a replicant.
And we know that she's
but we don't know whether he's a Nexus 8 or a 9 or a 10. We don't know if now they've progressed their emotions. Does he have sentience? He's starting to have dreams. Are they his real dreams? Does she really love him? Or is that a program? Because in the end, it almost makes you feel like it was a program, that she was programmed to do that to everyone.
Yeah,
but
that hurt me.
Like, it really, wow. Just,
here's what I love so much about the Joy and Kay dynamic, which I think is pertinent to you, because you're racist against robots.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
and
you guys bring up a lot of things that I have issues with from Westworld.
Here's what I love about this relationship, because it's one scene, I think it does such a good job of establishing the difference between her and him. And it's
her as in Joy?
Joy and Kay. Mm-hmm. Because they're basically comparing their makeup at one point, where she is zeros and ones, and he is a full artificial genetic code.
CTG.
And it's this sort of eye-opening thing where you're like, he's not just an android or whatever you want to call him. He is artificially created human. And it also, little things like the fact that they have skeletons. Like they dig up that
they also die.
Like
they also like
it's artificially made DNA, but he's got a full sequence,
right?
And
he grows old. He also grows old, and he has a life expectancy of an average human.
Yeah.
So you get this impression that this is a person that was made.
Okay.
It's not
Westworld.
It's not Westworld.
No, it's not Westworld.
Good, okay.
No, because in Westworld they have pre-programmed thoughts and responses.
And he does.
Like they
and
have
that when they die, they just can fix you and
no,
put you back together.
He's a person. He can die. He can get shot. He can get killed.
And if he dies, there's no.
He does have one main program, because the whole selling point is that the Jared Leto's character Wallace, he's created a replicant that will obey regardless, essentially.
Yeah.
But then the whole movie is basically seeing that that's not necessarily true.
Because he lies numerous times. Yeah. And so does Love.
Exactly.
Love lies.
His own assistant Love is constantly hiding things. Like she tears up at one point, and she's terrified that he's going to find out.
Right.
And it's basically disproving the entire thing that this they will follow orders no matter what. not so much.
Maybe to the point because they'll play along
Yeah.
because they don't want to be killed or
Well, yeah, they'll
be
discharged.
decommissioned,
This time they're smarter than the old Nexus 6s.
Well, it's like it'd be like the slaves that went along with slavery. Like they did it
I
out of
was
fear.
during the movie Love.
Like,
I was reminded of Samuel L. Jackson in Django.
Right.
That's
Okay.
what I was almost
But
thinking of.
a more brutal,
More brutal.
No,
definitely.
Kay is more of that because he
But it-
kills his kind.
Certainly, but it was that idea of like a
So
slave
Serbian,
that just
right.
says, "I am a
Yes,
slave.
master.
I'm going to
Okay.
accept this role."
Right.
I see. Yeah.
And
It
like
was
he
interesting.
doesn't want to be free anymore.
That's right.
Yeah.
And now, just to touch on Michael's quickly, where he was talking about the ones and zeros, and then K. The thing that made that scene so beautiful for me is that although he's more human-like than her, there's a very good argument that she was capable of more emotion and love than he was.
Yeah.
Even though he was closer to being a human,
Well, that's what she was programmed for.
right?
Well, it's yeah.
No, but she learned how to love
Yeah.
him. She didn't just love out of the box. She learned his nuances. She
It
learned.
definitely implies
Right.
that there is more of a connection between him and her than a random person and the joy that they bought.
That's right.
This
That's what
actually
feels.
making me super interested. That's really making me interested in the movie, just because. Again, the trailers give you nothing.
Trailers give you
I don't
nothing.
know what I was supposed to
And
grab
rightfully
onto.
It's one of those
Again,
things.
I don't think
it's a
very
positive
close
and a
because,
negative.
Again, it's a positive and a negative in the sense that if you're going to go see it, you're going in with nothing. But if it's somebody like me who I'm like, I'm not sure if I want to go check out this movie. If a trailer gives me nothing, then I don't really want to
think
go see it.
the point of
I needed
That's
a
the
hook.
whole point of
I
the
wanted a
movie.
hook.
Yeah.
I wanted a hook,
But
though.
all these things are like more sweeter when you know nothing about them. It's just a better
Yeah, but
experience.
you also have to get me into it.
Here's the thing, though. I
You also have to
agree.
get me to come
like
see it.
that's well, that's just different philosophy. There.
I agree. It's sweeter, but the movie's not doing well.
Right.
So I think that is one of the big problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the point of the trailer was to sell you on the world. And then because have you seen the cinematography in the trailer? Like, even then, it's just like, they just want to show you, like, this is the world that they live in. But then, I find that that's a negative, too, because you don't really know who the characters and what their what the point of the movie is.
Correct.
But-
And I'm totally with Mariana on this one. I think that it's sweeter that they didn't have much in the trailer. Because I hate nothing more than a movie that gives away all its good points in the trailer. But it could have given a little bit more, like Michael was saying.
A taste.
But I like the blending of the two of them. It gave you too little, but it was a perfect amount of too little for
I mean,
me.
I would have liked them, because it's at the beginning of the movie anyways, where, the replicants could maybe procreate.
Right.
Because that would have been an interesting enough hook. They're like, oh no, we thought, are they human? Are they not?
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that they can procreate is that child's now fully human.
That's right.
That would have been a good hook in the trailer.
Right.
Because it doesn't spoil anything because
It
it's
doesn't
right at the
spoil
beginning.
anything. It doesn't
but it gives
spoil
you a
anything.
taste of like, okay, these are the issues brought up.
Right. And you know what? I don't think that the trailer was made to pull people in. This movie is not for that. It's not to make money. It is going to be like Blade Runner. Blade Runner did not make a lot of money.
It hurts though because then
It costs
you
money.
spend
This isn't-
150
yeah.
million, and
Like,
that's
you
on
still
the
get
low
people-
spectrum
It will
of
make its
estimates.
money in
No,
cinema.
I hope so.
And here's what I'm saying from my perspective. I get what you're saying. I don't want my trailers to give me too much. At the same time, I would like a little taste of what I'm going to be going in to see. I don't like if I'm just seeing a bunch of visuals, but I don't understand anything that's happening in the movie. You run the risk of me being like, I don't know anything about
trailer
this.
right now.
I don't really want to go check it out. Like if I was going to Baskin Robbins and say we have this new flavor. Oh yeah, what does it taste like? We can't really tell you.
I'm not going to tell you.
I'm like, well, can you give me one of the samples and make how it tastes? Nah, we're not giving you anything.
And we're not even going to let you see
But
it.
trust
I
us,
want to
it's
know.
good.
But trust us, it's good. Sure, some people will be like, oh, well, now I really want to know. But for me, as a person who's like a person of habit, I want to know that I'm going to enjoy something. I'm like, what if it sucks?
Yeah.
Now I don't want to do this at all. Like, if we weren't doing this podcast, I might not have seen this movie at all. Because the trailer didn't do anything to sell me on it, is what I'm saying.
Right. And the first one you didn't really get you.
Exactly. So I want to go into negatives. Because we've talked about a lot of stuff that we liked about the movie, a lot of stuff that was great. I think that we seem to touch on some of the things that you didn't like. let's do it pretty quickly. Then we're gonna wrap up pretty soon.
I hate
Well,
Jared Leto.
let me cut her off. Sorry.
Jared Leto's the worst.
No. He's not
I
that
had
bad.
no problem with
He
it
is
at all.
not bad at all. He is not bad at all.
I am a
I have-
person that does not like Jared Leto.
Okay, can I? I'll concede that he's just okay.
Yes.
But the reason it's more of a personal vendetta. But the reason why
Vendetta.
is because he's a very method actor where he'll like spend months in the character, and the whole thing is that he creates these replicants, and he's like this super genius, and like he's kind of detached from society. But the thing is, he shows up. Maybe his total screen time is like 5 to 7 minutes, and I've heard stories about how he went blind for 2 to 3 months. And the thing is, his blindness has nothing to do with the character. The fact that he's a super genius and then he like looks up because he doesn't see right ahead, but he has technology that does the seeing for him. So I'm like, just the fact that you went method for 2 months and you've made your coworkers' lives miserable for this character who really... And his performance was just bland. It was just like,
But that's what he was supposed to
I see what
do.
you're doing.
Didn't you not see the original? That's how everyone
respect
acted in
her.
the
I
original.
respect her opinion on
Every
this.
single
No,
person
but I'm
did.
saying is the fact that he went through so much, and it's not just the fact that he has very little screen time, is that he really does nothing with the character. It's just that he stares off into the distance with white contacts
Exactly.
in.
I respect what she's saying in the sense is that if you know that going in, it would be annoying to me because it's not the same as like Daniel Day-Lewis actually trying to go like a year with only using his left foot so that he could star in My Left Foot as the main actor in it. He's the main actor. He's in every scene. He's trying to get fully immersed in the role. He's not even in the whole movie. And the blindness is not like central to the character.
It's-
in the way that
I
she's
don't
saying
know
it.
why
You're
You're
parroting
blind.
what she's saying, though, and I don't think it's accurate to say that.
Right.
No, but the thing is,
I think she has a vendetta. She has a problem.
She has a problem with
And
Jared Leto, period.
I don't know what to say because I feel like actors do different things. All actors do
But
different things to
as-
get into the role.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
Okay.
blame the man for doing the method thing if it's
Maybe
what
I-
helps
quickly,
him.
this
do
is not
his
this
job.
is not about Jared Leto himself.
I
This
think
is
it might be.
No, I meant my next point. It's the fact that every time it cut back to him, it kind like the whole movie has this like kind of one tone. It's not boring or bland. It's just like it kind of sets up this tone and this universe, and then every time it cuts back to him, it's like it's like a dramatic role where he doesn't have emotions, and it just he doesn't feel. And the thing is, everything's played so straight. Even everything's futuristic. Everything feels real in that world. But then you just cut back to him, and he feels larger than life.
I think
And it
there's
just-
supposed to be a contrast.
Okay.
Exactly.
I think he's supposed to be separated from the
But
world
it's
outside.
not just his acting. It's just every time it cuts back to him,
supposed to.
it kind of disconnects me from the rest.
And
of
I'm
the
not
movie.
going to say he's like the best part of this movie, but
No.
he
He's
didn't
not the
take me
worst.
out for a second.
I will just say that, Mariana, I will roll with
But
you on
you
this one
also
just because
don't
I hate
love
Georgie.
Jared Leto.
I hate Georgie and I also hate Jared Leto. So I was going to let you have your irrational hatred and it's fine.
Okay, so let me tell you
You didn't
about
like what the
yeah
These are bad.
what I didn't like about the movie
Yeah.
is that the runtime is pretty long.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's one of the
man.
one
That's
of
one
the
of the things I've
reasons
heard
I
about.
why.
love that. Like, yes,
I
3-hour sci-fi movie?
I
Why not?
think that's one of the movies. The reasons why it's not making a lot of money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Another thing that for some people the acting is very dry. It's very one dimensional. Like it's not one dimensional
Yeah.
per se, but it's more just like emotionless faces. Kind of like the original one. Like, you know how the acting was kind of weird and like...
Sure.
If that wasn't the
There's
strongest
not a
part
lot
of
of
it.
excitement.
There's
in
not a
the
lot of
scene.
excitement to the
And there's
scene
not-
or anything like that.
It sounds to me like there's no like. One of the things that I got from watching Westworld is that Anthony Hopkins is like chewing scenery in that show.
Right.
Yeah.
Every scene he's in, you're like, that guy's acting his ass off. And this movie doesn't seem that it gives anyone the chance.
Because
to
there isn't
do
anyone in
that
the
kind
movie
of
that...
show.
that's
There's
no one's more
showy
important.
performances.
No.
Yeah,
No.
it's a story of everyone.
Yeah,
And
it's
then-
this
yeah.
world.
And then
the
lastly,
people in it.
my worst thing was the CGI to make
Sean Young.
Sean Young.
But the thing is, she shows up for
It's
30
a very,
seconds.
it's a very short.
And
so,
the thing
yeah.
is, you're like, you don't even notice the uncanny valley until she starts talking, and she only says like 2 lines. And the whole point is to make, because Harrison Ford's character was in love with her, and it's to play that game like, see, you can have her again. And so I was fine with the uncanny valley just because she was created to make Harrison Ford comply, and she was only there for 30 seconds, and she's a replicant, so it wasn't like the Rogue One.
I have an issue with that just because I feel like it's a slippery slope before we're bringing back Robin Williams to be Mrs. Doubtfire too. So that's just
but for the movie, this worked really well because
it worked as a character moment.
It's in principle, not even just for the movie. Like in principle, anytime I see them bring back an actress not in a movie in CGI to make them either look younger or if they're dead, I just don't like the precedent that's going to set for the future of Hollywood.
I actually did. I actually.
The whole theme of this is like making false people, and it fit the movie very nicely.
I actually didn't mind Kurt Russell in just an aside. Kurt Russell in Guardians of the Galaxy.
I agree.
As young, that looked really good.
Oh no, I don't mind it when it's the actual actors themselves coming in and they're doing the CGI to make.
But Sean Young didn't even.
But if the person's
even
not
there
in the movie, and you just want to have them in the movie by putting CGI, what's going to stop them from making? I don't know, when Denzel Washington dies, and they're like, oh, let's make Equalizer 42 with Denzel Washington. I feel like that's where it's going to head, and I don't like that future.
I don't think so.
We're not going to be making new actors. We're going to be like, let's go back to the old actors to do movies.
So, dislike. Mike.
For me, it is the length. My ass hurt at the end of this movie.
You guys are horrible.
Like, literally. I got up and
ADHD millennials.
I was sore. It's hard to say because I enjoyed the whole length of the movie, but I felt it. But on the flip side, like I've talked to a friend that watched it, he said he was surprised he didn't feel it.
Yeah.
But
so I think that may be a personal thing. Depending on how invested you are throughout the whole thing, you might not feel it the same. I was feeling it despite how much I was enjoying it.
The thing is, I enjoyed the whole movie, so I was fine. Like, I'm like, give me more. But there was times where, for example, when he arrives at the hotel, you see like the wasteland, and then it's an overhead shot, and then you see him walking from behind, and then it's just like him quietly looking around. He gets in the hotel again. It's an oversight of the hotel. You see him. No. I liked it, but I'm saying I could see where they could have cut things out No, but I'm saying to a general audience, I could see why you don't need those lengthy walking through, looking around scenes.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying.
I agree with you. I like those scenes. Yeah.
No, I liked it.
But did you only love the movies or anything that you?
I can't really think of anything except there's like one like minor nitpick where it's kind of getting into spoiler territory, but okay, I'll just say it. Anyways, towards the end of the movie, where you see a bunch of like these replicants. They're like, okay, we're fucking building an army, and they're all like fashion models from like Yeezy season 4, and it's I'm like,
I see what you mean. I didn't like that scene.
I didn't like that scene.
It was so like. You could have implied this to me, like you were doing throughout the whole movie. You didn't need a whole group of people like step out of the shadows.
And if you have that, make them menacing, make them.
No, I think I know why, because the entire movie is a standalone. It doesn't feel as if this is a setup, but that was the only scene that felt like a setup to potential.
Yeah,
whether or not they do make a sequel, this seems like this could build out like the next movie is going to be the Replicant War.
I think it works nicely because. Just the implication that there is a sort of a potential uprising.
They could have implied that.
I think you could cut there and never touch it again, and it adds to this movie. It's just
it works on its own in the movie, but it was the only scene.
It's definitely
it was the only scene that felt like something that could be next.
All right, so I'm gonna use that as a bunch of your guys' final thoughts. I think I got mostly what you guys are coming from for the movie. I'm gonna tell you what I'm thinking based on what you guys told me.
You gonna watch it?
As I said, from the trailers, I wasn't super interested. I didn't love the original movie. The trailers didn't really give me anything to make me like, oh, now I have to see this. I just felt like, I could skip this and it wouldn't really change my life. From what you guys have told me, I'm kind of interested about this whole joy and love thing that you're talking about, which sounds super interesting, and like the whole manner of that relationship with those characters. I kind of want to watch it so that I can hate Jared Leto as much as you, because I do not like him. And I'm a person that enjoys hate watching things. I watch the whole television show Girls because I hate it. I watch every season because I hate every character on it, and I love hate watching it. And The only thing that has me trepidation is the runtime, but everything you've talked about, how beautiful it is, visually, how it's not so much the last movie. I think the thing that really sold me on it is when Michael said that seeing this movie made him understand why people love the original one so much. And it feels like I want to understand that, and I want to do that, so I'm definitely going to check it out. And I've been waiting a while now to see it so we can do the review. I'm probably going to go see it the next day that I have free, probably in the next couple of days, because I do want to go check it out. Yeah, and you know what? As a big WWE fan, I want to go see Dave Bautista be.
Yeah.
I love the fact that my boys The Rock and Dave Bautista are doing it big in Hollywood, and I want to go see his movie now too. And I'm definitely going to go check it out. So there you go. There you have it. I'm going to go check out the movie. I'm Matt.
I'm Yash.
Andrew.
Mariana.
I'm Michael.
And next time, you can join us on the Grapevine. Until next time, guys, take it easy.